Hello, my name is Gary, and I was raised in the Western United States, so I'm a native English speaker. I hope that you will enjoy this YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us.
The Pie and the Patty Pan by Beatrix Potter, 1866 to 1943. Once upon a time there was a cat named Ribby who invited a little dog named Duchess over for tea. "Come early, my dear Duchess," Ribby wrote in her letter. "I'm making something really special. It's baking in a pie dish with a pink rim. You've never had anything so delicious. It's all for you. I'll just have muffins, my dear Duchess," Ribby added. Duchess read the letter and replied, "I'd be delighted to come at 4:15, but it's funny, I was just about to invite you to my house for dinner to have something really delicious too." "I'll be right on time, dear Ribby," Duchess wrote, and then added at the end, "I hope it's not mouse." Then Duchess thought it didn't sound very polite, so she scratched out "isn't mouse" and changed it to "I hope it will be fine." She gave her letter to the postman. But she couldn't stop thinking about Ribby's pie and kept reading the letter over and over. "I'm terribly worried it's going to be mouse," Duchess said to herself. "I really can't eat it mouse pie. And I'll have to eat it because it's a special occasion. My pie was going to be veal and ham. A pink and white pie dish. And so is mine, just like Ribby's. We both bought them at Tabitha Twitchett's shop." Duchess went to her pantry, took her own pie off the shelf and looked at it. "It's all ready to go in the oven. The pie crust looks perfect, and I'll put a little tin pan inside to keep the crust up. I even poked a hole in the middle with a fork to let the steam out. Oh, and I really wish I could eat my own pie instead of one made of mouse." Duchess thought and read Ribby's letter again. A pink and white pie dish, and she said I'd eat the whole thing. You means me. So Ribby isn't planning to taste the pie herself. A pink and white pie dish. Ribby's definitely going out to buy muffins. Oh, and I've got a great idea. Why don't I hurry over and put my pie in Ribby's oven while she's out? Duchess was feeling quite pleased with how clever she was. Meanwhile, Ribby had received Duchess's reply, and as soon as she knew the little dog could come, she popped her pie into the oven. There were two ovens, one on top of the other. Some of the knobs and handles were just for decoration and didn't actually work. Ribby placed the pie in the bottom oven, though the door was a bit stiff. "The top oven bakes too fast," Ribby muttered to herself. "This pie is made with the most delicate minced mouse and bacon. I even took out all the bones because Duchess nearly choked on a fish bone the last time I hosted her. She does eat a bit quickly, taking rather large bites. But she's such a polite and refined little dog, far better company than cousin Tabitha Twitchett." Ribby added some coal to the fire and tidied up the hearth. Then she took a can and went outside to the well to get water for the kettle. After that she began straightening up the room, which served as both the living room and kitchen. She shook out the mats at the front door and laid them back in place. The hearth rug was made of rabbit fur. She dusted the clock and the ornaments on the mantel, then polished and wiped down the table and chairs. Finally she laid out a spotless white tablecloth and arranged her best china tea set, which she took from a cupboard by the fireplace. The teacups were white with pink rose patterns, and the dinner plates were white and blue. After setting the table, Ribby grabbed the jug and a blue and white dish, then headed down the field to the farm to get milk and water. When she returned, she peeked into the bottom oven. The pie was baking nicely. Ribby put on her shawl and bonnet again and went out with a basket to the village shop, where she bought a packet of tea, a pound of sugar cubes and a jar of marmalade. At the same time, Duchess left her house on the other side of the village. Ribby ran into Duchess halfway down the street, each carrying a basket covered with a cloth. They only nodded to each other and didn't speak, since they were about to attend the party. As soon as Duchess was out of sight around the corner, she took off running, straight to Ribby's house. Ribby went into the shop, bought what she needed, and had a nice chat with her cousin, Tabitha Twitchett, before heading out. Later on, cousin Tabitha spoke with disdain. "A little dog, really, as if there weren't any cats in Surrey. And a pie for afternoon tea. The very idea, exclaimed Cousin Tabitha Twitchit. Ribby continued on to Timothy Baker's and picked up some muffins, then headed home. As she entered through the front door, she heard a scuffling sound coming from the back hallway. I hope nothing's wrong with the pie, Ribby muttered. However, no one was there. Ribby struggled a bit to open the bottom oven door, and when she did, she gave the pie a turn. The delicious smell of baked mouse was beginning to fill the air. In the meantime, Duchess had quietly slipped out through the back door. It's so strange that Ribby's pie wasn't in the oven when I put mine in, and now I can't find it anywhere. I've looked all over the house. I put my pie in the top oven, which was nice and hot. I couldn't turn any of the other knobs. I think they're just for show, Duchess said, but I really wish I could have gotten rid of that mouse pie. I can't figure out what she did with it. When I heard Ribby coming, I had to dash out the back door. Duchess went home, brushed her sleek black coat, and picked a bouquet of flowers from her garden as a gift for Ribby. She passed the time until the clock struck 4. Meanwhile, Ribby, after making sure no one was hiding in the cupboard or the pantry, went upstairs to change her dress. She put on a lilac silk dress for the party, along with a fancy embroidered apron and a matching tippet. How strange, Ribby said to herself. I don't remember leaving that drawer open. Has someone been trying on my mittens? She went back downstairs, made the tea, and set the teapot on the stove. She beat into the bottom oven. Again, the pie had turned a lovely golden brown and was piping hot. She sat down by the fire waiting for the little dog. I'm glad I used the bottom oven, Ribby said. The top one would definitely have been too hot. But why was that cupboard door open? Could someone actually have been in the house? Right at 4 o'clock, Duchess headed to the party. She ran through the village so quickly that she arrived too early and had to wait for a bit on the lane leading to Ribby's house. I wonder if Ribby has taken my pie out of the oven yet, Duchess thought. And where on earth is the other pie, the one made of mouse? At exactly 4:15, there was a very polite little tap-tap at the door. Is Miss Ribston home? Duchess asked from the porch. Come in, how are you, my dear Duchess? Ribby called out. I hope you're doing well. Quite well, thank you. And how are you, Ribby? Duchess replied. I brought you some flowers. What a delicious smell of pie. Oh, what lovely flowers. Yes, it's mouse and bacon. Please, my dear Ribby, let's not talk about food, said Duchess. What a beautiful white tea cloth. Is the pie done yet? Is it still in the oven? I think it needs another 5 minutes, Ribby replied. Just a little longer. I'll pour the tea while we wait. Do you take sugar, my dear Duchess? Oh, yes, please. And could I have a lump for my nose? Of course, my dear Duchess. You beg so beautifully. Oh, how adorable. Duchess sat up with the sugar on her nose and sniffed. That pie smells amazing. I do love veal and ham. Oops, I mean mouse and bacon. Duchess dropped the sugar in her confusion and had to search under the tea table, so she didn't see which oven Ribby opened to get the pie. Ribby placed the pie on the table, filling the room with a delicious smell. Duchess emerged from under the tablecloth, munching on sugar, and sat back in her chair. I'll cut the pie for you first. I'm having a muffin with marmalade, said Ribby. Do you prefer muffins? Watch out for the patty pan. I'm sorry, what? Ribby asked. Can I pass you the marmalade? Duchess said quickly. The pie was very tasty and the muffins were soft and warm. They were eaten quickly, especially the pie. I think, Duchess thought to herself, it might be a good idea if I served myself some pie. Ribby didn't seem to notice anything when she was cutting it. The pieces are so small and cooked perfectly. I don't remember chopping them this small. Maybe her oven cooks faster than mine. Well, Duchess is eating fast, Ribby thought to herself as she buttered her 5th muffin. The pie dish was quickly becoming empty. Duchess had already had 4 servings and was fumbling with a spoon. Would you like some more bacon, my dear Duchess? Ribby asked. Thank you, my dear Ribby. I was just looking for the patty pan. The patty pan, my dear Duchess? The patty pan that held up the pie crust, Duchess replied, blushing beneath her black coat. Oh, I didn't use one, my dear Duchess, Ribby said. I don't think it's necessary for pies made with mouse. Duchess fumbled with the spoon. I can't find it, she said anxiously. There isn't a patty pan, Ribby said, looking confused. Yes, indeed, my dear Ribby. Where could it have gone? Duchess asked. There definitely isn't one, my dear Duchess. I don't approve of 10 items in puddings and pies. It's very undesirable, she added in a quieter voice. Duchess looked very alarmed and kept scooping out the inside of the pie dish. My great-aunt Squintina, the grandmother of cousin Tabitha Twitchett, died from swallowing a thimble in a Christmas plum pudding. I never put anything metal in my puddings or pies. Duchess looked horrified and tipped the pie dish upside down. I'm going to die. I've swallowed a patty pan. Oh, my dear Ribby, I feel so sick. It's impossible, my dear Duchess. There wasn't a patty pan. Duchess moaned and whined, rocking back and forth. Oh, I feel so awful. I've swallowed a patty pan. There was nothing in the pie, Ribby said sternly. Yes, there was, my dear Ribby. I'm sure I swallowed it. Let me prop you up with a pillow, my dear Duchess. Where did you feel it? Oh, I feel so ill all over, my dear Ribby. I've swallowed a big tin patty pan with a sharp scalloped edge. Should I get the doctor? Oh, yes, please fetch Dr. Maggotty, my dear Ribby. He's a pie himself, so he'll definitely understand. Ribby settled Duchess into an armchair by the fire and hurried out to look for the doctor in the village. She found him at the blacksmith's. He was busy putting rusty nails into a bottle of ink he had forgotten at the post office. Ribby explained that her guest had swallowed a patty pan. Nonsense, ha, he replied, and quickly agreed to go with her. He hopped so fast that Ribby had to run to keep up. It was very obvious. Everyone in the village could see that Ribby was going to get the doctor. I knew they would overeat, said cousin Tabitha Twitchett. But while Ribby was looking for the doctor, something curious happened to Duchess, who was left sitting by herself in front of the fire, sighing and groaning, feeling very unhappy. How could I have swallowed it? A big thing like a patty pan. She got up and went to the table, feeling inside the pie dish again with a spoon. No, there's no patty pan. I did put one in, and nobody else has eaten pie except me, so I must have swallowed it. She sat down again and stared sadly at the fireplace. The fire crackled and danced, and something sizzled. Duchess jumped. She opened the door of the top oven, and a rich, steamy aroma of veal and ham wafted out. There stood a perfectly brown pie, and through a hole in the top crust, she saw a glimpse of a little tin patty pan. Duchess took a deep breath. Then I must have been eating mouse. No wonder I feel sick. But maybe I'd feel worse if I really had swallowed a patty pan, Duchess thought. What an embarrassing thing to explain to Ribby. I think I'll put my pie in the backyard and say nothing about it. When I go home, I'll run around and take it with me. She put it outside the back door, sat down by the fire again, and closed her eyes. When Ribby arrived with the doctor, she appeared to be fast asleep. I'm feeling much better, Duchess said, waking up with a start. I'm really glad to hear that. He brought you a pill, my dear Duchess. I think I'll be fine if the doctor just checks my pulse, said Duchess, stepping away from the magpie, who was slowly moving closer, holding something in its beak. It's just a bread pill. You really should take it. Have a little milk with it, dear Duchess. Nonsense, the doctor said, while Duchess coughed and choked. Don't say that again, Ribby said, losing her temper. Here, take this bread and jam and go out into the yard. I'm feeling much better, dear Ribby, said Duchess. Do you think I should head home before it gets dark? That might be a good idea, dear Duchess. Let me lend you a nice warm shawl and I'll walk with you. Oh, I wouldn't trouble you for anything. I feel wonderfully better. Just one of Dr. Maggotty's pills. Well, it's amazing if it cured you from a patty pan. I'll come by right after breakfast to see how you've slept. Ribby and Duchess said their goodbyes warmly, and Duchess started home. Halfway up the lane, she paused and looked back. Ribby had gone inside and shut the door. Duchess slipped through the fence, ran to the back of Ribby's house and peeked into the yard. At the top of the pigsty sat Dr. Maggotty with 3 jackdaws. The jackdaws were munching on pie crust, while Dr. Maggotty sipped gravy from a patty pan. Duchess ran home, feeling incredibly silly. When Ribby came out for a pail of water to wash up, she found a pink and white pie dish smashed in the middle of the yard. The patty pan was under the pump, where Dr. Maggotty had thoughtfully left it. Ribby stared in amazement. Have you ever seen anything like this? So there really was a patty pan. But all my patty pans are in the kitchen cupboard. I can't believe it. Next time I throw a party, I'll invite cousin Tabitha Twitchit